Greetings, everyone. It's a beautiful day, so I thought I'd come out to my man shed and get some work done. But I've been reflecting a lot lately, so I wanted to take a beat and just kind of share something that has been kind of playing a lot in my mind. So lately I've been thinking a lot about just kind of the journey that I've been on and how I got to where I'm at in my life and kind of this version of my life. Being a dad and a husband and why it feels so meaningful to share. I've always been a big person on visibility and representation, something that I didn't really have too much as a kid or a young adult, and visibility matters. So that's why I'm here. And I guess I've realized that if I had seen someone like me when I was younger, a gay person, gay people, married, maybe even with a family. If I had seen that, I don't know if I would have spent so much time thinking if this kind of a life, this kind of happiness, if it was for me. Like, is it for me? Was it for me? Like, I don't know if that would have played such a major role in my young adult life. So again, that's why I'm here, because I want to talk about kind of what fatherhood has taught me, because it really is like fatherhood has made me see life in a different way. It's made me see my identity in a different way. It's made me see love. It's made me question, like, what am I leaving my kids, my legacy? So anyways, to the point, if you don't know who I am, my name is Blue. Nice to meet you. I'm 46. Yes, I am. I'm gay. Yes, I am. And I'm married to an incredible man, love of my life, my best friend, and together we're raising two incredible kids, okay? And again, if you had told me years ago that I'd be living this life, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have known that not just that if it was possible, but also that it existed. Because I didn't see families. I didn't see gay families growing up. I knew they existed. I had my idols. Madonna was a big influence for me, and she was very pro-gay. She had gay dancers. She was always very outspoken. But I didn't see it with my own eyes. It just seemed like something that was like an entertainment feature. I felt out of reach. Or more like something that didn't exist in real life. So I thank God for people like that. And I guess that's why representation matters to me. So here we are, modern day. And it's got me thinking that, before I was a father, before I had kids, I was an all-around confident guy. I knew who I was. I was out. I had come out, living out and, proud. I had married my best friend. I had bought my first house. I had a successful career in music. My husband was on a TV show, a successful actor in the film industry. It felt solid. I felt, confident as a gay man. Fatherhood comes around, and I guess it really has a way of spinning things around and making you think like, okay, so now who are you? Now that integrity really matters and somebody's watching you every single day, little eyes watching you. Now you're the role models. And suddenly it wasn't just about me. It wasn't just about me and my husband anymore. It was about being a role model. It was about creating a safe space and turning our house into a home. And I guess being a steady presence. And being gay, especially a gay dad, it comes with visibility, and this is something I've really learned, especially lately. Visibility at school. Kids are very aware of what's going on the playground, the baseball field, just walking down the street as a family. Sometimes it feels empowering. Other times it can feel a little isolating. But it's made me braver. It's certainly given me fuck you, I don't care what you think attitude, which I always kind of had anyways, but and I feel like that makes me more grounded. I want my kids to see what it looks like to live honestly, by example, watching their dads. And I'm always reminded of a conversation I had with an old friend of mine, before I had come out to my grandmother years, and this is years and years and years ago. And she was struggling because her son had come out as trans, and she was, trying to find a way to support him through his struggles, and she was struggling, and it was a lengthy conversation. And part of it, we started talking about my journey as a gay person, and how I hadn't come out to my grandmother yet, and my family was a little apprehensive about me doing so because she was a very, set in her ways, traditional Sicilian, fiery, spicy woman. And it was just a little bit of a can you not approach. And my friend, she said, Blue, until your grandmother knows who you are, you will never be your true self with her. And I was really upset. I really upset about it. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to come out to her. It stuck with me. That conversation stuck with me for a long time. And so I did come out to her. I wanted my relationship with my grandmother to feel authentic, and I wanted her to know who I was. And again, this was like early on. I was in my early 20s before I had met my husband. And I'll never forget my grandmother. This was on the phone because she was in Vegas and I was in LA. And she said, I don't understand it, but I accept you and I love you and I want you to be happy. And I'll never forget that moment, where she showed me that unconditional love. And I think she surprised my entire family, if I'm being honest. Maybe not though, because I don't know, my uncle at one point told me that they were always, very liberal in that sense, my grandparents. But to this day, I still thank Franny for that conversation, and it's just words of wisdom, living your true self. But bringing that back around, that's why it's so important for me to live my true self in front of my kids. Even when it's uncomfortable, I am a gay parent. I'm the gay parent in the room, and my husband and myself, and I know I'm not alone, but in that moment I feel alone, and the kids are watching, and it's important for me to represent, to be proud, to shake the teacher's hand, to just be a parent, because it's not about who I love. It's about supporting your children. Even before kids, like I knew what love was. I met my husband, and like I knew what love was. But parenting, it's a whole different kind of love. It's very different. And I remember my mom actually saying that to me, that the way she loved my dad was a different kind of love. And I think as a young kid, it's hard to understand. It doesn't make much sense, but it's fulfilling being a parent. It's exhausting, but it's very fulfilling. And it's teamwork. It's tag teaming the chores, when we're exhausted. It's cooking dinner, stepping on Legos, cleaning up cereal in the morning, making coffee, holding each other through the meltdowns, my meltdowns, their meltdowns. It's learning to love each other in the middle of the chaos, It's showing that we love each other during the chaos, even when we're mad, because sometimes you just get so angry and like the kids are watching, and God, that's hard. Sometimes I fail at that, but I do want to be an example of what love looks like. And, still laughing together after a long day is important. And tucking the kids in bed, regardless of how old they are. I told them, if you live under my roof, I'm tucking you in. It's so worth it. I guess it's just teaching them that love is steady. And that love is showing up. And love doesn't go away. Unconditional love. It's there. My love for them is eternal. And, I guess as I'm getting older, I'm thinking like, I know I love my kids, but what am I leaving them? What is the legacy? What have I taught them? In the everyday small moments, what will they remember? And I'm pretty confident that they'll remember the I love yous. I mean, because I say it all the time. Like I said, the bedtime routines, the dance parties, the trip to the batting cages, the movies, the weekends in the yard, maybe some road trips. All the things that, so it's almost like you get to be a kid again. And that's freeing in a lot of ways. And you're reminded to show up. And I think they'll remember that we showed up. And I think that, and I know that they will understand that we never hid who we are. And I want them to grow up knowing that they came from love, but also a very intentional love. A love that we worked for, a family that we built, that we chose them, we fought for them, we went to school for them. Our family wasn't a traditional family, and it took a lot of work to build what we have. And I want them to always remember that. So fatherhood didn't just, I guess, change me, but it challenges me every day. Maybe it's changing. Maybe it's like an ever evolving, thing, but it's challenging me to be stronger, to be better, to be mellow and soft, but also firm and strict when necessary. It's that balance, which I'm not very good at, but I believe it's made me a better person. The awareness of what I need to work on, but also just it's kind of made me a better version of myself. And I think for the most part, a lot of parents, that's how it goes. So I guess in closing, like if you're out there and you're wondering, like, is this parenthood for you, is fatherhood, motherhood, something that you want? You gotta choose if it's something you want, and then just know that it's possible. Like you don't have to be perfect. No parent is perfect. That's, nobody is perfect, period, but especially parents. You just have to show up. You have to have love to give and be willing to receive love. And that's more than anything, that's what I've learned. Is that receiving is part of a relationship. I cannot imagine my life not being a dad. I cannot imagine being without my family. No other words of wisdom today. It is time for me to do something with this mess. Part of being a dad, a parent, is taking care of business, and today's a taking care of business day. Maybe a little bit of cleaning up. I don't know. This is just stuff everywhere. Anyhow, listen. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being fabulous. It is time for me to walk outside of my little world and say, hi, Arliss. Uh-oh. He smells something. See how he's perked up? I think he smells a coyote. All right, y'all. Peace to the world. Enjoy your day.